All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Carlos Bossard, and I am the Director of Programs and Museum Practice at the Haitian American Museum of Chicago. Our mission is to promote and preserve Haitian art, culture, history, and community in Chicago and beyond. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Tonight is our first Scholar Series lecture of 2025. This program we have every quarter where the museum invites a scholar to talk about various aspects of Haiti and the diaspora. This presentation tonight will explore the reasons why individuals or groups choose to leave their homeland, leaving families and embarking on journeys into foreign lands and cultures. The focus will be comparing Algerian immigration with Haitian immigration, examining the historical and cultural factors that shape these migration patterns. Now, before I begin, I'd like to share a little bit about the museum. The Haitian American Museum of Chicago, we were founded in 2012 by Elsie Hector Hernandez. She created this museum to help change the negative perceptions and stereotypes that people have or think that they have about Haiti, Haitian culture, and its people. Through programming, exhibitions, and community initiatives, the museum educates on the vibrancy of Haiti as well as its complex history. Now, we are pushing the boundaries of what a museum should be in relation to its community. And in 2022, the museum embarked and took on a new pillar, if you will, of its mission and values. As some of you may remember, back in 2021, 22, there were images of Haitian and Black migrants being met on horseback at the Texas-Mexico border. Now, those are very disturbing images, but at the museum, we used it as a catalyst for us to start providing legal immigration services and resources to Haitian and non-Haitian migrants and new arrivals throughout the whole state of Illinois. So currently, we are a partner within the Legal Protection Fund, City of Chicago Initiative, and Illinois Access to Justice, a State of Illinois initiative, and partnering with the National Immigrant Justice Center, providing referrals for things like asylum, temporary protected status, work permits, green cards, citizenship, and more. We are more than, like I mentioned, a typical museum. Rather, we are a proactive member of the community. And if you do have the opportunity to visit us in person at the museum, please do so. We are at 4410 North Clark Street in the Uptown neighborhood of Chicago. We have 2 spaces now that we occupy, again, providing these resources to the community, as well as some really great programming, exhibitions, and community events that we put on. The event itself tonight is meant to be very interactive. After the presentation, there will be some time for Q&A with our speaker. Now, throughout the presentation, please feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat, and I will moderate that Q&A at that point. You can also raise your hand. You can come off mute if you'd like to ask any questions that you have. I have put on captions for accessibility, and please just note that we are recording this meeting for future use and archiving. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for this evening. Dr. Farida Guechoud began her academic studies in her native Algeria. She earned a bachelor's degree in teaching philosophy and a master's degree in philosophy of science from the University of Algiers. She then expanded her education in France, receiving a master's in theory of sciences from Université Paris 8. She recently received a doctorate in French and Francophone literature from Louisiana State University. Everyone, please welcome Dr. Farida Guechoud.
Well, thank you, Carlos, for this introduction. I wish I was there in person. I prefer in person than through screen. But anyway, I'm so happy to be with you. I have a long history with HAMOC, as you may, I don't know if you know.
We don't know.
You all know.
We don't know. Let us know.
Yeah. I know, I thank Elsie. I knew Elsie when I lived in Chicago. My relation to HAMOC started when I lived in Chicago. I was a newcomer to the city and the country. I encountered Elsie, and it marked the beginning of a long relationship. I call her my Haitian maman. Over the years, I had the privilege to attend many events at HAMOC when it's its beginning, the first location. I haven't had yet chance to know to visit the new place. I know the old place. Now back to our subject of immigration. The title of, let me share my PowerPoint. Okay, share. 1 second. I haven't done Zoom meeting for a while. Okay, well, alors, sorry. The title of my presentation is From Revolution to Migration, a comparison of Algerian and Haitian immigration. Now back to, as I said, back to our subject. As an immigrant myself, I found the subject of immigration both intriguing and deeply personal. Having lived in many cities and different continents, actually, I lived in my country, Paris, several cities across North America, including Montreal, Toronto, Chicago, Boston, and now currently Baton Rouge. My experience has given me the opportunity not to only contemplate the phenomena, but also allowed me to understand the challenges of the immigrant experience, its issue and its richness, and see on top of it the ongoing interplay between colonial history and the identity issues and the notion of home and the question of the other. For today's presentation, I explore the reason why individuals and groups choose to leave their homeland, often leaving behind them families, communities, and everything familiar to embark on journeys into foreign lands and cultures. My objective is to identify recurring patterns in the migration movement to better understand the forces that drive people to make this life-changing decision and how it affects not only their lives, but also the generation to come. For this presentation, I choose to explore two nations, as the titles indicate, Haiti and Algeria. Why did I choose these two countries or two nations? Despite being separated by ocean and ocean, they share key historical parallels. As you may know, both countries endured French colonial rule. We were part of the French Empire. Both of the countries fought violent wars for independence, and it continued to the present time to grapple with political and economical challenges today. Through this comparison, I hope to spark a discussion and a reflection on how colonial legacies continue to shape nations in different ways. Let's begin looking at the historical factors that have shaped the migration movement in these two countries. Then I will come back to draw the cultural impact of this migration on immigrants themselves and their descendants. Okay. Oh, it's not why my slide is not. By just the way, the picture, it's a painting from an Algerian painter, 1928, 1982. It's called Les Martyrs in 1965. Just for information, it's the plan for this presentation, I did answer the first point, why compare Algerian and Haitian immigration. Reason why they immigrate, this population. We will try to explore the different route they take, and later we will explore also the challenges and the sociocultural that impact the immigrants themselves and the generation to come, present and future. Later, as we say, we will have session of Q&A. This picture, actually, it's a real picture. We will come back to this later. Well, we are not going through all these dates. It's just when I was doing all this research, I put Haiti and Algeria together to see, compare them, and I saw lots of similarities. Just like Algeria was colonized in the 1830, I was wondering maybe that France lost Haiti it was one of the reasons also to look for a new colony, and Algeria was close to them, and they started their colonization of Algeria. Besides that, we will focus, as you see, Haiti has a long history than Algeria. Algeria is a young country, started in 1962, but doesn't mean doesn't have history before. But as a nation, as a modern nation, it started in 1962. Haiti has a long history. We won't go through all of that event. We will focus mostly on François Duvalier regime and a recent wave of immigration from Haiti. We will start by Algeria immigration. Algeria immigration started during the colonial era, right after the colonization, specifically during the World War I and World War II. After the why this possibility Algerian to immigrate to France. First of all, Algeria was part of the France itself, l'Algérie française. That means there wasn't, as a result, Algerians are not under any restriction. They are not under any different jurisdiction. They are considered as French citizens. Well, they are indigenous people, but they were hired directly as French citizens. They participated in World War I. Some of them stayed, but after the big wave of immigration to France, they were immigrated first of all as laborers sorry, it does not work from here. After World War II and post-war reconstruction, France needed cheaper labor, and Algeria was the best place to get laborers. France economic growth and labor shortage led to increased migration from Algeria, particularly to work on rebuilding the infrastructure, the construction, and second field was industrial fields such as car factory. Sorry, one. The question someone may ask, why young Algerian decide to leave their homeland? The first reason is their situation in their homeland. For example, like Al-Kabili, the first reason is jobless man from the disinherited lands in Algeria, because most of Algerians, they took their land, they are disinherited, they didn't have land, mostly they were farmers, they lost their farms, and they became jobless, then they need a place to get to, they need a job. Technically, the easy to go to France. Kabylia and the need to satisfy the labor-hungry industrial region of France. I have one extract from one Algerian author, La Colline Oubliée. The author Mouloud Mamri described vividly the life of several young men, 4 of them actually, they described 4 of them, who reflect the inevitability of immigration to France, particularly due to economic hardship, colonial pressure, and the lack of opportunity. Let's move to another slide. Yeah, and we will come back, we will come back to Algerian this is the big wave of immigration from Algeria, is the labor, they immigrated for economical reason. Later, we will come back to this immigration to see what kind of impact and how did they live their life in France. Yeah, actually, yes. yeah, we will see we'll come back to this later. Oh, sorry, I am having a little bit. Yeah, this is. Sorry. Okay. Let's stop here. Okay, let's go to Haitian immigration. Then we come back to Algerian immigration later. Sorry, one technical. The key moment in Haitian immigration. As I said, it's you have. I suppose that most of you are Haitian. Haiti has a long history, but we will focus on kind 2-3 moments, big moments in the history of this immigration. 19th century, after Haiti independence, economic hardship and political instability drove many Haitians to migrate, especially to Cuba and Dominican Republic, where they worked as laborers on sugar plantation. Actually, there is a documentary, it's called The Price of Sugar, 2007. It's a documentary and it describes the situation of Haitian in Dominican Republic. The second of 20th century, a fact that late 20th century Haitian immigration is inseparable from the oppressive regime of Duvalier. I put the father and the son together. 1957 and 1986, the Papa Doc and Jean-Claude Duvalier, Baby Doc. In addition to extreme poverty, Duvalier regime was marked by brutal political oppression and extreme forms of censorship. Duvalier regime was killing any opposition to his government. To speak out against the government was to risk beating, imprisonment, or murder. And those intellectual authors in particular found themselves the target of the Tonton Macoute. I think you heard about this name. It's the nickname given to the national security, or specifically the nickname given to Duvalier on police force. Many people led to mass political exile. Okay, let's look into this immigration. I am not looking into all the detail of these immigrants. I'm focusing on the immigrants in francophone spaces. Most of them, Haitian diaspora expanded significantly in US and Boston and Montreal, but there is also the Montreal and France. Why these people choose, most of this Duvalier resistant to the anti-Duvalier regime, they went to France and Montreal because they completed higher education, and most education in Haiti is done in French language, and they found that going to France or Montreal, Quebec is easy for them. Because French universities are more accessible and affordable than US institutions. France offers scholarship to Francophone students, including Haitian. Haitian diploma and degree often are aligned better with the French system than American one. This is the main reason why Montreal, Quebec, Montreal is part of Quebec, and France was one of the destinations of anti-Duvalier regime. Let's move quickly. I think I am. How is the timing?
It's perfect.
It's perfect. Okay. The second kind wave. It's hard to say that okay, before we will go. Yeah. The second wave of migration, Haitian migration, what they call the boat people, because the continued political instability, the social unrest, the gang violence, kidnapping, etc., economic hardship, many Haitians fled by sea in unsafe wooden boats, becoming known as Haitian boat people. They faced the restrictive immigration policies and mass deportation. In 1980, 5,000 Haitians were denied political asylum. Third generation, we can sort of, I noticed that there is a sort of third generation or third wave of immigrants coming from Haiti. This one are more, we call asylum seekers. After the natural disaster, earthquake, 2010 earthquake, Hurricane Matthew 2016, we saw another wave of immigrants from Haiti. And actually, the US granted them what they call temporary protected status, TPS. Ongoing instability due to political assassination, gang violence, etc., led these people to another. There's another diverse migration route. Now they go through South America, and their objective is to go to US, but they go through South America, such as which are the countries? Sorry, Brazil, Chile, etc. But we saw a diversification of wave of immigration from Haiti. Anyway, just where I'm trying to summarize now, we can see that there are differences between these waves. Earlier waves, 1950s, 70s, were more elite and politically driven, and they are well educated, while later waves included more working classes, migrants fleeing economic hardship. Haitian immigrants have historically faced discrimination. Now we can talk about discrimination. They did face discrimination through I remember there is this the AIDS crisis. They were not allowed to come to US because they were suspected to carry the disease AIDS. They were stigmatized, and later generation Haitian immigrants have historically faced discrimination, but have same time built strong, resilient community. HAMOC is one of this community. Later generation are more integrated. The difference also between all these waves, the first one, they are likely to speak French language and Haitian Creole. The latest waves are different. They speak, the second, mostly they speak just Creole, Haitian Creole. The third one, they are more Creole, Haitian Creole, and English. They are more integrated into American society. They are very, very politically active, and they speak English. The political and legal aspect of immigration, we can see that the political and legal aspect of immigration and border control played a crucial role in shaping Haitian immigration. We can continue now back to Algerian immigration. This is just few, when I was doing my research, I found there is the author, the Antilles tried to describe this experience of exile. Immigration is not just moving from part to another part, it's exile also in a way you are separated from your country. I did not translate them, but René Despetres, 1926, wrote this poem in 1964. He's part of the Negritude movement. He's still alive. He lives in France. À ceux qui n'ont pas eu d'enfance, to all who did not have childhood, tout métier sans soleil, to all job that doesn't have sun. Anyway, I cannot now translate it right now. He's dedicating this poem. Dany Laferrière, no, this is Algerian author. Assia Djebar, she became member of Académie Française. She said, "Mon pays me hante comme un amour perdu." Like my country lives through me as a lost love, as a lost love. The last one, not last. L'exil est un long chemin vers une maison qui n'existe pas. It's Dany Laferrière. He said, like, The road to exile, it's a long path to a house, doesn't exist. Like you lose your home forever. You don't have a home anymore. You are lost between places and spaces and time. You don't have any more specific place, home. Back to Algerian immigration, I will try to summarize quickly. While I was doing all this research, I found that we can identify 3 generations. The first generation, which I call the fathers, or the parents, not the fathers, les pères, in French, les pères. This population is defined by the experience of the Algerian War, often characterized with harsh working condition and living. Most of these immigrants are men. They stayed for years while their family remained in Algeria. They served to fill labor shortage during period of economic growth. In France, after the World War II, which we call le Plan Marshall, led to a lot of money, and they needed laborers, and Algerian, they were there to fill this need. The recruitment happened, but without providing any living conditions. They were numbers to work what we call travail à la chaîne, assembly line work. What happened now in the 70s, there was everybody, the French government and the Algerian themselves thought always there will be a return to their homeland. But in the 70s, the arrival of the family, their families has aggravated the housing problem, and the appearance of ethnic slum, bidonville on the margin of urban centers. The Algerian encounters by far the most opposition and hostility in France because of their difference. And in the 80s, what I call the second generation, their kids, their children, which called the beur, it's the derogative term, the change of Arabs, children of the first generation. They were born, most of them born in France, and attended the French school. They are very distinguished from their parents. Their social circumstances were radically different from the first one. In response to the situation of their parents, they saw the sacrifice of their parents as they worked hard to build the better situation for them. Because they were educated, they believed as being as French citizens, they could find a place in French society. But in the 80s, when there was this economic crisis, in France, it led to rising unemployment and tension between immigrants, community, and French population. This generation saw the resurgence of discrimination and social inequality, which led to what you see in the picture. It's called La Marche des Beurs. They started from Marseille, from south of France to Paris to the north. It took them from, they left October 15, they arrived on feet. It was a huge march, protest. This generation, second generation, they were asking for more egalitarian and against racism. Now let's get quickly to the third generation, what I call the third generation. Now it's different environment. This third generation is hard to delineate. It's not chronologically, but this generation is emerged new social structure and identity that works now French society, which national markers are declining significance. It is usually referred to by generation banlieue, means banlieue, it's the suburb around Paris. This generation, it's a group of people of similar age with shared formative experience. They are mostly mixed with other nationality, mostly other North African, Tunisian, Moroccan, and Sub-Saharan, mostly Senegalese, Malian, Chad. They are mostly mixed with other nationality, and the reference to religion became an identity, which wasn't part of the first and the second generation. Granted the similarity of experience among minority groups of diverse origin, this generation became more and more part of multi-ethnic segment of French society, largely identified as Muslim. They had no memory of better times and no hope of better future. Not they saw unemployment of their parents and older brothers appear the norm, and they are convinced that discrimination against them exclude them from decent job and better situation. The riot in 2005, actually after the killing of these two young boys, Zaid and Binu, sparked a riot in Paris 2005, which young Black were permanently visible alongside Algerian, was a root of reflection of the duration, the social distress and political neglect suffered for decades by inhabitants of banlieue. Anyway, we'll stop. How is my timing? How is the timing?
Yeah, things are looking great.
Okay. Yeah, just coming back as a conclusion, this is picture was just while I was doing my research, this picture of there's a little Haiti in Miami, which is a thriving community. But the left picture is a little bit harsh. This is the latest picture of a Haitian crossing the border through Mexico to US, and the other to Dominican Republic. Let's finish on a note of hope. Edwidge Denticat, you may know her.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. One of her saying that I left my Haiti, but Haiti never left me. J'ai quitté Haiti, mais Haiti ne m'a jamais quitté. Depet has an interesting also relationship to immigration. He said, "No, I am not nostalgic for my native country because Jacmel, his hometown, is in me, in my imagination. I see exile as a joy and enrichment." I just took this picture as nice touch. C'est la vie. There is a hope. This community are very resilient. Let me finish with something. Do I have some time to finish?
Of course, yep.
Yeah, political instability and economic crisis have driven both groups to seek better opportunity abroad. Haitian immigration has occurred, as we saw, in waves, often in a response to crisis, such as the Duvalier dictatorship, the earthquake, and ongoing political turmoil. Similarly, Algerians migrated en masse to France during colonization, but I haven't mentioned the other during the Black Decade, the Algerian Civil War. While Haitian and Algeria have migrated under different geopolitical circumstances, both communities include political exile, economic migrants. Both of them faced discrimination and social exclusion. Despite this challenge, both groups have preserved their cultural identity while adapting to their host countries. Haitian Americans maintain strong connection to their heritage through language, religion, and community networks, balancing Haitian Creole and French with English. Algerians in French, despite pressure to assimilate, continue to express their identity through language, music, and activism. Let me jump quickly. Ultimately, the Haitian and Algerian migration experience reflect broader theme of colonial legacy, economical survival, and racism and cultural resilience. While shaped by distinct historical and geopolitical contexts, both communities have faced exclusion, fought for recognition, and contributed meaningfully to their adopted society. Thank you. We stop here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farida. Excellent. I learned a lot. Honestly, I think there's a really great information in here. We really appreciate you sharing your time, your talents, and now want to open it up to folks who are here in our
Yes.
Zoom. Feel free, Michelle, feel free either to unmute yourself, or if you do want to put a question in the chat,
Yes.
I'll be able to.
Well, I congratulate you for the, it was very good, and I think it was faithful to the historical events.
Yeah.
But I must add this.
Yes.
Of course, the dictatorship, the Duvalier dictatorship, had a lot of people flee the country.
Yes.
But at the same time, you had with the civil rights movement, the American administration democratized the immigration. So they had the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965.
Yes.
And with that Immigration and Nationality Act, they allowed a Caribbean people to come in the United States in a much greater number than before. So you had some kind of push and pull factor. At the same time, you have the people, some of them fleeing the country, the repressive regime, but at the same time, you had the American, the democratization of the immigration law in the United States. Because before that, the Caribbean people could not, the quota that they had was very insignificant. So I think it was Kennedy, the one who survived, the senator. I think that is him, he who say we must democratize, since we have in civil rights, we must also democratize the immigration system. And this is a very important point. And I think a lot of people, because of the horror of the dictatorship, they do not allow themselves to say that. And since you're not a Haitian, so you a little bit more detached, so you could incorporate that into your research also. And I would say it's probably somewhat similar to Algeria, because Algeria, since you were French citizens, so there was France, you could go there without any problem. And since a lot of people think that you would get a better way of life, the same way that, so you had the economic situation and you also had the political situation. So it's a combination of both that accounts for the fact that you had also many migrants in the US. And in fact, even though there were, after Duvalier, until those gangs, there were no systematic repression, but you still had the immigration flow going. So, which means that it cannot be attributed solely on the dictatorship. So that's the point that I wanted to make.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, as I said, there is a long waves. It's not just the Duvalier dictatorship. It has been ongoing. It's an ongoing phenomenon. There is many reasons, not just for political reason. I can attest.
Yeah.
Also, I left my country not for any.
But you did have you did have repression under the Duvalier dictatorship, and there were reasons for people to leave the country. But what I'm saying is that there was also a welcoming posture from the United States, which allowed them to come. So what will happen later on under the Jean-Claude Duvalier? So you mentioned it, you will have the boat people. So these are people that could not go there legally, and they just wanted out because I must also say that the economic situation got much worse during even though apparently it was better because you had more American enterprise, but in reality it was much worse because inflation and everything. So it was very, very bad during the Jean-Claude Duvalier regime, and the people just wanted to get out of there. So you had another way. These are a middle. These were peasants but in a middle strat, because in order to migrate as a boat person, you had to have some kind of money. You had to sell things and things like that in order to be able to be in the boat and then travel and all that. So these were fundamentally economic, and also because there was a lot of repression too under the Duvalier Son regime. So you had both combination. So that's the remarks that I wanted to make.
Yeah, you are right. It's not, it's the same situation. I noticed, I found the same situation in Algeria. We call them, I did not cover it because my time and it has been a lot of information. We call them haraga. That means it's like burning yourself. They cross the Mediterranean. It's longer, the distance is longer. There is now, we don't have dictatorship, but still this young kid, most of them between 18 and 30s, they are living in the country because they cannot get out of the country with other, like,
Legal means.
Legal means, yes, because the Algerians, you have to know, where they cannot leave the country without a visa. You need a visa for all the destination.
You know, it is unfortunate that two countries that had so many similarities, especially two countries that fought to become independent, and they have no diplomatic ties at all. That's unfortunate.
What, sorry?
Haiti and Algeria do not have any diplomatic ties, diplomatic relation.
They used to have in the past. I don't know about the 70s.
They used to have it?
Yeah, in the 70s. Yeah, in the 70s.
Okay, so I'm learning something.
When Algeria was more oriented toward Africa, tried to united all the national movement for independence, for negritude.
Okay, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah, and not
All right.
for other reason. I think the agenda is.
Maybe they still have it. I don't know. You know,
yeah,
I was under the impression that there were no relation.
That's a good question. Yeah, I do remember the 70s. There was some relationship with Cuba, with Haiti, with Argentina. No, I'm not sure. I have to.
Okay.
I have left my country 20 years ago. I don't know.
Okay. So your thesis was in Haiti and Algeria. Is that part of your dissertation?
No, actually, I haven't. Yeah, it's not part. Haiti is not part of my dissertation. Is about the perception of the other in French literature.
That's a very good theme. Eh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of related in some way. Like, how do the immigrants is perceived in literature? Yeah, it's interesting.
Very good.
Question. Immigrants is part of that. I always wanted to compare Haiti with Algeria because there is a movie, Pontecorvo, you know this the director?
Pontecorvo?
Yeah, Gilles Pontecorvo, the Italian director.
Okay.
He made a movie, Bataille d'Alger, the Battle of Algiers, and the other about the Haitian Revolution.
Okay, yes.
I forget the name now, it's not coming, but he has 7 movies anyway. You cannot miss that movie. Forget the name of this movie. Very well now. And I always wanted to compare these two movies because...
The two countries, yes. Okay.
Because Pontecorvo, he did this a movie about Algeria, the revolution, Algerian revolution and Haitian revolution.
And Pierre Bourdieu, he was a French Algerian, is that correct?
Yeah, that's another story. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe I should include the French who were Algerian. He was born in Algeria during the colonization. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
okay.
What do we consider at the time? Who is the Algerian? Who is French?
What about Camus?
Yeah, that's what was the theme of my thesis. Camus, but he's born in Algeria. I consider him Algerian.
Yeah. and that's a very powerful novel, The Stranger.
Yes, yeah.
Aujourd'hui, maman est morte, peut-être hier, je ne sais pas.
Oui. Aujourd'hui, ma mère est morte, oui. Peut-être, oui.
Peut-être hier, je ne sais pas. J'ai reçu le télégramme aujourd'hui. Mère décédée, enterrement demain.
Yeah, Vous avez mémorisé, vous êtes de quel, which part of?
Je suis de Port-au-Prince, Haïti.
Ah, Port-au-Prince. Yeah, I used to have friends in Paris from Haiti because
Okay.
they came as a student. They got a scholarship from Francophonie, l'agence de
Oui,
francophonie. Yeah, they all went to l'UNS, l'école nationale, what's l'UNS, école nationale supérieure,
okay.
and they all have they have
École normale supérieure.
école normale supérieure, l'UNS, yes.
Oui,
And
You
they,
think this-
there was a
speaking
group
to
of
me.
them in Paris, actually.
oui, je sais, tout à fait. Dont Leslie Maniga. Vous avez entendu parler sûrement.
No, oh, yeah, I have to dig.
Leslie Maniga, you don't know. Okay, that's okay.
We do have another question here. Martin, go ahead. You can go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Thank you, Farida, and also thank you, Miguel, for providing more context and everything. I wanted to just point to, like, what do you think if you looked at the more recent trends in Haitian immigration?
Yes.
Because immigration, sorry, because I'm from Chile, and there's a lot of Haitian migration towards Chile, which, put it in the context that you provided, is kind of like a little bit random, no, or unexpected, right? Because why would you go so far south? But from
That's good. Maybe they got a visa. They got more legal possibility to be there. Why?
So I
That's
think
correct. There was an openness from Chile.
So I don't have any evidence of this, but kind of like what the informal recollections I've heard is that they are deeply tied to some of the latest military interventions from the UN in Haiti. So during the mid 2000s until around 2017, if I'm not wrong, actually Chile, Brazil, and Uruguay were the countries that were providing most of the military personnel that were meant to provide security, right? There's a lot of, that's very contested, that whether they provided more security than created more problems. And then the story is that a lot of, especially Brazilian and Chilean military, became friends with Haitians. And so then when they left back, they wanted to help them, and so they invited them to move to Chile with promises that they were going to help them find jobs and and everything and all of this. And so this created like a spiral of opportunities for Haitian families that moved to Chile. But then also then a lot of other Haitians heard from these Haitians that they were doing well in Chile and in Brazil. So more of them started migrating, right? And then what ended up happening is that, of course, the early migrants, Haitian migrants to Chile, they have a network of support of people that could support them and help them find jobs, opportunities, right? Transition, right? Get them a temporary home until they find a job and everything. But then the later immigration came to Chile without that network of support. There has been a lot of problems regarding that. But yeah, I was wondering, whether you saw or you were aware of this pattern. I'm not sure if Brazil is exactly the same as Chile, but I think it's somewhat similar, that like this kind of like immigration towards South America is in a way connected to the patterns of actual foreign intervention that Haiti.
And in fact, you're absolutely right. The first wave of immigration to Chile, you had the people, Haitian living in Chile, sent more money to Haiti. They were second to the United States, which means that they came before Canada and before France. And they were second in terms of the amount of money that they sent back. But somebody made the observation that says they had to borrow money, so maybe they were in the obligation to repay also. So we would have to investigate a little bit more about that. But it is correct, and they were very welcome. The first wave was welcome, as you said, they benefited from the network. And the second wave, no, absolutely. Thanks for the observation.
Yeah, thank you. I found a lot of there's a lot of information. I have to decide which one I have to explore. Yeah, Chile, there is a novel actually. That's one in my list to explore. It's written by Haitian. I don't have the name now on my notes here. It's now what we see now, the latest immigration, they don't write anymore just in French or English. There is even Spanish novels by Haitian. Question now, what is the Haitian literature? Is it the one just written in Haitian Creole, in French, or in English, or doesn't matter? And since it's related to Haitian community or culture, we should consider. That's a new debate now among scholars, what to consider Haitian literature. It's in my list. I don't have the name right now, but yeah, and
thank you.
As you see, I'm comparing two big movements of immigration, and like in 30 minutes cannot. We have to decay. And each generation has its specificity. I was trying to put this point out the relationship to Haiti. There is very tight relationship first generation. It loosened over time because the kids became more assimilated because more. And now in US we see that immigrant in US Haitian are more involved in American, I would say, issues like such as Black Lives Matter, and that's where Algerian, like, it's different in some way. They have their own problems because they are more different than, I would say, Haitian, because they have another religion. They are Muslim. They're different.
All of them are, what is the proportion of Muslim and Christian?
In Algeria?
Yes. No, in Algeria.
Oh, but 90% is we are
99%. Okay, I see.
Yeah, it's
so despite the French colonization, the Algerian managed to
Now what happened? This is a good, interesting point. Like, because French, they did not Christianize the Algerian.
Okay. They did not accept.
They did not. Why? I don't know. That's another question. Like, they did not, the Mission, les Pères Blancs, les Sœurs Blanches, they weren't very active in Algeria. We have a small community, very, very tiny, but not as other places.
So you could say that one of the differences between Camus, Bourdieu, and the other Algerian is religion also.
Not just religion, the language.
Also that they had a French parents.
The language, because that's also a layer of immigration. If you keep your language, you keep your differentiation, your characteristic from the other. Camus did not speak Arabic or Berber language at all.
Oh, he did not. Okay.
Did not a word. But maybe hi, how are you? Maybe there is no mention of any Arabic, like even Meursault in the novel The Stranger. He does not.
What about Bourdieu? It's different for Bourdieu.
Yeah, he's a sociologist. He's a scientific. And my colleague, he doesn't know. But I have to check. Is he Jewish? If he's Jewish, he may be an Algerian Jewish. He may
no, I don't think Bourdieu is Jewish. I've never heard that.
Yeah. Okay. Then he's not. Like Derrida, example. Jacques Derrida. His mother spoke Arabic because they are Algerian technically. In 1847, France gave them citizenship. The Algerian Jewish people. North Africa, and we used to have Jewish in Algeria, and it's called Décret Crémieux. In 1847, they got the citizenship, which separated them from the indigene, because they have access to jobs, they have access to school, to more opportunity, and over time they lost the language, but their parents speak Algerian Arabic.
Okay. That's
I think That's a good point. Language and religion make community distinct, different from the other. And
Okay.
immigrants, they fight this, there is this struggle, how to keep the language and the culture.
But Bourdieu was very open. And I think in The Stranger by Camus,
Yes,
this is it's an Arab novel, you know.
I didn't hear, sorry.
The Stranger by Camus, L'étranger d'Albert Camus,
Yes.
it's very open to the Arab world because
Yeah,
he,
I am not,
he
yeah,
excused the fact that the Arab kill all those people, and it's also a testament against la peine de mort, death
yes.
penalty.
No, I agree with you. I'm with you. I don't consider that Camus is racist. He's not open to Arab. No, I'm just saying that he does not speak Arab language. The Arabic
Okay,
Algerian that's made him a little bit
different. Like,
close to the Arab. And he can see him, but he cannot understand him. That's what maybe the Arab doesn't have any voice in because he does not, he knows them, he interacts, but not in the language. He's not,
yeah.
he doesn't have insight to the culture. He has maybe external, mostly external vision of the Arabs.
What about Frantz Fanon?
Oh, that's another story. We did not mention the immigration of Haitian to other part of France, Antilles, Guadeloupe, Martinique.
But Fanon wrote a book called La Révolution Algérienne, the Algerian Revolution.
Yeah, he became Algerian and
Yeah.
he became citizen. He's a French,
Yeah, but from Martinique.
from Martinique, black, I would say, black French. When he moved to Algeria, he saw the colonization and all his work, Les Damnés de la Terre, what is the other? Les Damnés de la Terre, what is the
Les
other?
Damnés de la Terre, Peau Noire et Masque Blanc.
Oui, Peau Noire et Masque Bleu, it's all based on an Algerian French colonization. And he became, after he became part of the FLN, the movement to liberation of Algeria, and he became the ambassador of Algeria. He died.
That's a great guy, eh? He's a big guy, big shot.
Thank you all so much. And this is a really great conversation. I've learned a lot more even from the Q&A, and I think that's why having these types of presentations and community come together is very, very important. As we wrap up this evening, again, I just want to thank everyone that joined us at our first Scholar Series of 2025. Thank you, Farida, Dr. Farida, so much for sharing your time and expertise.
Thank you, Doctor.
HAMOC.
Thank you.
Very
Michel,
quickly.
Michel, merci Michel.
Oui, c'est qui parle? Elsie? Somebody said merci,
So sorry,
Michel.
I'm just gonna finish up super quick. I have just a couple announcements before we go because we are now over time. Very quickly, March is Women Heritage Month, and we will be partnering with a woman-owned, minority-owned cookie company, Sugar Bliss, and we'll be handing out some free cookies with everyone's admission to the museum for the first 2 weeks of March. On the 30th of March, we will also be having our Compa Soirée at Alliance Française. It's going to be a really great opportunity. If you've never been to one of our compas before, make sure to join us. And then very lastly, we do have some of our Know Your Rights presentations coming up, as well as a lot of really great tours, school and private tours coming up at the museum. If you or someone within your community may benefit from one of our Know Your Rights presentations or from one of our interactive cultural tours, definitely please feel to reach out to the museum. I do see we have Elsie Hector Hernandez, our founder and CEO. I'm going to turn it over to her as we close out our program today.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Can you hear me, guys?
Okay, now I see you. We see you and hear you.
Okay, d'accord, d'accord. So, Dr. Farida, merci, 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 merci beaucoup, merci en pile. Thank you for coming and present yourself. I think it was a really very, very good, excellent presentation. I think it was really educational. And I know Michelle and Farida, probably if you meet each other, you could would not be stopping talking about Camus. So it was very interesting. So Farida has been with us with the museum since the beginning.
That's
So
what she
this is
said.
from the beginning, she's been with me, holding me and supporting the museum. So
That's
she
good.
kind of left me in Chicago and went to live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but we still keep in touch. And so I really appreciate you, Farida, for doing that. Thank you so much. This is great. I think you should expand this this presentation, to be honest with you. I think you should really continue to educate people about those two countries.
Thank
So that's
you.
it. Thank you.
Always moving forward, Elsie. We
Yeah.
There, I double that. Definitely an amazing presentation, and
Yeah.
hopefully we're looking forward to having you present in person at the
in
museum
person next
that-
time.
that next
See you
time for
in
sure.
Chicago.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much again for joining us this evening. Stay in contact. If you need anything, reach out. Our email is info@hamoc.org. Until next time, have a great rest of your day and week ahead. And thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Elsie. Thank you, Farida. Thank you, Carlos. It was great.
Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great night.
Bye.
Thank
Okay.
you.